Okay, so I'm going to list off some parties. The Due Process Party. They believe in due process. The Scientific Method Party. They believe in the scientific method. The Skeptical Pragmatist Party. I could certainly see myself in the Skeptical Pragmatist Party. That's a pretty reasonable position. And the Nearsighted Futurist Party. The Conscious Realist Party. Because you want to be a realist, you want to be in touch with the physical world and take as much information in from the world around you. But you want to be conscious. You want to be as aware as possible. So this is a good party to be part of. The Fastidious Philosophy Party. The Situationally Absolutist Party. So here is an example where some issues you can be absolutist and others not. It's almost like the Casual Fatalism Party. The Situationally Absolutist Party. And of course, the Critically Existential Party. Because you want to be critical when you're being existential. Otherwise, you can develop a form of perhaps psychosis or some other neurological condition. And it might not be very fun. Here's one most people can agree with. The Conscientiously Capitalist Party. You need to be, if you're going to be a capitalist, and I think most people should be, in my opinion, you want to be conscientious. That is the one sticking point when people want to inject a little bit of the sort of socialism, the socialistic policy into a capitalistic system. They tend to look at it and go, well, we need to be conscientious. And they are absolutely right. And that's actually one thing that Elizabeth Warren, at least in her rhetoric, gets right. So I'll give her credit for that. Absolutely. You want to have a part in the Peacetime Nostalgia Party. Because the Peacetime Nostalgia Party is when you just remember the good times, the peaceful times. And then you just want to go back. And that's what we need. We need to be anti-war. We need to be, understandably pragmatic about, our place in the world. I'm, from the United States, so my country has the biggest military in the world. It's the world's leading military force. And I think that it's kind of like Theodore Roosevelt and to a great extent Donald Trump. They say that there is sort of this, when you apply your strength and you allow that to keep things very calm. Speak softly and carry a big stick. That's what Theodore Roosevelt said, and I agree with that. I, of course, like I said, I have my bias towards the U.S. Army and the armed forces. And I do believe that we should end the interventionist wars. We should end our place in Syria and Afghanistan. It's time to pull back and find other solutions, more diplomatic, diplomacy over weaponry. I think that we're coming to that point, and you can see with the talks with North Korea in the United States, President Trump and Kim Jong-un, Chairman Kim, it has come to a point where we're talking about economy over war games and wartime. So the Peacetime Nostalgia Party is the place to be if you want the world not to end. So, go for it. And then there's the Economical Environmentalism Party. And I believe in this. Economical environmentalism. That means you can't end fossil fuels, okay, because that's not economical. Now, if we develop Generation 4 nuclear or another technology that can bring us into, through the 21st century and into the 22nd without destroying the world's climate and destroying the shores and causing all kinds of problems, extreme weather conditions, tornadoes and hurricanes. But we need to understand we cannot disrupt the world economy dramatically in order to achieve this. That would be very nihilistic. That would be something that an accelerationist would love. Somebody living in clown world. Somebody living in clown world would love to get rid of fossil fuels in the next 12 years when the world is supposed to, I guess, be past the tipping point. It's past the tipping point, and that means it's all over. You're past the tipping point, son. You're doomed. The world is shit. The modern religion known as negativity. This belief, this faith. And if you just had enough information, you might change your tune. But hey, maybe the world needs to have positive and negative people to balance it out, to keep friction. Hey, that makes sense. If you look at it on a meta level. And you want to be part of the neighborly individualist party. Okay, so even if you're not obsessed with identity, you're part of a neighborhood, but you are yourself. And you have this nice balance of being a people person and being yourself and being what they call based. And just sort of having high enough self-esteem to not consider yourself a victim. You're not a victim. Unless you want to be. And we're here to help. You do want to be part of the artfully analytic party. I'm a member of that party. I am artfully analytic. And I'm a bit of a compromising idealist, so I fit in very well with the compromising idealist party. I want to shoot for the stars, but I want to make sure that I am not ignoring some really good opportunities that might be a bit smaller. I want to be able to barter and exchange and negotiate with people and not have this sort of absolutist right-think way of how to do things. I want to be able to talk and compromise with others. And keep my ideals, keep my own personal belief system. And in some cases, I might be agnostic, I might be atheistic, or I might be a true believer in a modern religion at a given time. I'm agnostic on most of them, if not all. But sometimes statistics gets me. So, the Constitutionally Libertarian Party. I like this one a lot because I believe in constitutions and I believe in libertarianism. I fall left libertarian on the political compass, and I've been sliding more libertarian over time. I'm not sure if it's a product of age or the media that I have had my opinion assigned from. But in any event, I do believe in the Constitution of my country, the United States. I believe in the First Amendment. I believe in the Second, Third, Fourth, Fifth. I mean, really the whole Bill of Rights, especially. And of course, certain other amendments have also been very productive, but those first 10 are absolutely great. And I love this more libertarian interpretation of them that you get from certain Supreme Court judges, and others not so much. They're a bit more authoritarian in their interpretation, restrictive, if you will. So you do want to be part, and this is the final party, the narcissistic globalism party. So I do believe that you want to be about your nation first, because that is how the world is currently structured. It may change in the future, due to balkanization or different forms of war, different treaties, different agreements. But right now, it looks like the world is going to remain pretty static in terms of countries maintaining their own identity and their own rules. Now, of course, you have things like the EU, and you can see how hard that grip is, how hard they can hold on to the UK and say, you can't leave. Like, that's not very libertarian. You know, they're holding back the UK. The people voted in the referendum, leave. They voted to leave. They didn't say remain. About 49% of them said remain, but around 51% said leave. Now, if you believe in democracy, and democracy is a flawed system, as are they all, democracy is one of the better systems, but they had a direct democracy there, and with the referendum, and they said Brexit. But the EU is holding them back. That's globalism. That's getting all these countries together into one big old government. And at the top, you have, well, absolute power. And you know about absolute power. It corrupts absolutely. So you need to understand, you need to be a bit narcissistic. I mean, actually, if you're going for absolute power, you're probably pretty narcissistic as it is. But you need to be, as a nation, you need to be, America first. Or name your country first. Uruguay first. That's a good example of a country. That's my opinion. I mean, you could call me a bit of a nationalist versus a globalist. I mean, I do believe in having a vibrant world economy where everybody is at peace and everybody talks, and there's a beautiful free trade market with very equitable trade deals between all the different entities in the world, and each country has its own specialty or different industries that it excels at, and it offers that to the world market. That's the system I want to see, just this beautiful capitalistic, real, free market economy. But we're not seeing that. The more you have the reduced bargaining, almost the unionized bargaining of the EU, you're reducing some of the beautiful discounts and things that could be given to one or both countries in any other given trade deal between that country and another country that's outside the EU. So the EU has its problems. I'm not going to go into more of them here, but you can do a little look up on Google or DuckDuckGo and just read about what's happened to the EU. Look at the numbers. Look at how they are doing in trade. Look at how the euro is performing and see what you think.